Hi everyone, my name is Eva-Maria and this is actually the first video that I am making since I turned 20. Scary age. I'm officially not a teenager anymore, but that's alright. I'm excited. I'm really excited about this. Anyway, so I wanted to make a video just to sort of update everyone on what's happening in the youth world, I guess. The other day I was in a bookstore and a magazine caught my eye, so I just wanted to share this with you. Now, this lovely boy here is actually my boyfriend. I'm just kidding, I wish. Anyway, I wanted to share this article with you actually. It's called The Broken Generation, or The Broke Generation, or A Bunch of Whiners. And it's interesting, in this article they interviewed some baby boomers, which are people born post-war sort of 40s, 50s, the Gen X's, which is my parents' generation, born in sort of 60s, 70s, and Generation Y, which is my generation, which is people born in the 80s, 90s. And it was a really interesting article to read because the whole idea focused around baby boomers who are sort of hogging the workforce, the workplaces. And it's really interesting because I feel that, I mean, I could debate this entire article all night, seriously. There are so many different and interesting points in this. But one of the key things I wanted to quickly communicate through this video was one of my key messages that I try and share whenever I speak in front of audiences is trust your future. And the message is really powerful, I feel, for both adults and young people. For adults, it's a message to say, look, trust the future that's within our young people today, because ultimately, I mean, hey, look at me, I'm actually going to be running the world in only a few years' time, and I'm so scared because, okay, I'm not really that scared. It would be kind of fun to rule the world with my peers, but, I mean, look, I mean, the bottom line is that young people will be running the world, or, I don't know, making decisions for the world in a few years' time. And it's really important to be able to give them that trust and to pass on different knowledge to make sure that, you know, the future will actually be that young people are a little bit more knowledgeable and a little bit more ready to take on responsibilities and be able to communicate and all of these bits and pieces. It's also a message for young people. It's a message for young people to say, you know, tomorrow will exist. Remembering back to my primary school years and to my college years, I think the era that we've lived in today, especially like one of the biggest events that stands out is 9/11, back when I was 13 at primary school. That was sort of a glimpse into our lives, and we always thought that we were going to be living in this sort of state of panic and shock and fear and on the edge. And I think trust your future, the statement really reaffirms that, look, we're going to get through it. Anyway, but linking trust your future back to this article, I think it's interesting because I'm not going to get into the politics whether it's right or wrong that baby boomers are taking up a lot of the workspaces and blah 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 blah, but the thing is that baby boomers back in the 40s, 50s, well, like after when they were young people, when they were teenagers, baby boomers usually sort of left school when they were 14, 15, and they started working full time. So if you can imagine a baby boomer, by the time they were 22, they would have already had a full-time job with experience and perhaps maybe even a career that they wanted to follow for the rest of their lives. Now, if you look at Generation Y today, that's my generation, the young people today, they go to school until they're about 18, 19, and then they go, and they might have a gap year to go and travel, but then they go to university. And they might stay at university for 3, 4, 5 years. And by the time they're 22, 23, 24, unlike the baby boomers, they don't have any experience, hardly any. I mean, they might have worked at a cafe or at a clothing store, but it doesn't really go beyond that. And I think baby boomers back in their day, even though they were still young, 14, 15, it meant that someone actually showed and invested a little bit of trust and responsibility in those young people, to be able to perform well, to be able to take on responsibility, to be able to do a job. And ultimately that's why you hire people, because you trust that they will get the job done, or if they don't know how to yet, they will learn. And I think the young people that are coming out of university today, I don't think that experience, I mean, experience is definitely a factor. I mean, as an employer, I'm guessing if you were to choose between who would you choose between a baby boomer with like gazillions of years of experience, and a young person who's just got a piece of paper to say that they've got a degree, and their work experience shows working at a cafe part-time while they were studying. I mean, obviously it's a no-brainer, but look, here's the thing. Young people are so creative, okay? And it's not just because they're creative. They're creative because they live in today's world. They embrace technology. They've grown up with it. And if you ask young people about ideas, about creative ideas, especially if you're in business, like so many times when I consult businesses and they're stuck on a marketing or a PR idea, and I just say, why don't you ask the young people within the organization? Because you know what? Not only are they in touch with the business, or they don't even have to be in touch with the business, most importantly, they're in touch with today's world and how people interact today and how people think today. And they can think and come up with so many different ideas that are fantastic. You know why? Because they're out of the box. Because I truly believe that today young people have not been told that the box even exists. So how are you meant to think inside a box if no one's told you it exists? So young people come up with all these amazing ideas. And I'm not saying, look, hand over the world to the teenagers, because I know that that's what's going to happen in a few years' time. Like, my generation are going to inherit the world and all of anyway. But what I'm saying is, have some trust in young people. Just like people had trust in baby boomers back then, have some trust in young people. Sure, they might be sort of 22, 23, 24, 25 without any real job experience, but come on, how are they supposed to get experience if no one will hire them? And I truly, truly hope that you will think about the Trust Your Future message, and about how can you utilize young people? How can you use their ideas and creativity to perhaps help you? What idea could they come up with? What's something they could help you think up of that might really, really help you? Seriously, try it. Ask a young person for an idea or advice, and I'm sure you'll be really amazed. But you know what? I'm actually really interested to hear about what you think about baby boomers and young people in the workforce, and what are the relationships between them. And do you really believe that baby boomers are hogging the workspace and that young people are not? Because of the hogging, young people aren't getting any jobs and that. Do you think that's true? I'd love to hear your comments. Bye for now.